Coach Campbell was asked about the fake sneak play. I wonder how you would describe how it unfolded.
Yeah, I kind of thought, based on the other sneaks, that it would have been a little bit more open. It was something that showed up to us on tape that we thought would work. Obviously, Ben made an incredible play, creeped a little bit on that backside, and then snuck out the back door a little bit. Was hoping for a little bit more sell, but he made an incredible play. It was awesome. Anytime you throw it to Ben, you feel like you got a chance.
Jaden said you were pretty heavily involved in his recruiting. How would you describe meeting him and identifying, hey, this is a guy we need to get on campus?
Yeah, Derek Kruger did an incredible job of kind of uncovering him and sending him to us. And at the time, it was just me and Shieldhouse on the road, and I was literally just waiting at an airport, waiting for Hoosier to tell me where to go. And he sent me his film, and I was really impressed by it. And flew down to Miami and went to Sunset Tavern, this nice little place that Jaden likes to go to. Got a good French toast down there, and it was awesome. Had a really good day with him and his dad, and hung out for a couple hours and just talked about his experience up to this point and his football career at Eastern Kentucky, and felt like he was really our kind of guy and was in it for the right reasons and wasn't chasing, a lot of the things that a lot of transfer portal people are. So he's an awesome kid. You guys have got to know him a little bit and just see how special of a guy he is. It was really fun to get to know him, and it's obviously paid off really well for us. But he's such a good dude, good kid. Family's awesome.
The I formation play you're running, is that like called the big I, or where you've got Rocco under center? I mean, get into how that whole thing came about, and it seemed like it's worked pretty well.
Yeah, that's really, I call him Crazy Man 2. That's a Tyler Roll special there, the goal line, stack eye, craziness there. I love it. It's something that we haven't done a lot of. He obviously has a lot of experience running it at North Dakota State. And when he got here, we watched a lot of what they did, and I felt like we had the personnel to do a lot of that stuff. And he's obsessed with that kind of stuff. Him and Clanton, they always, believe me, they dial up a lot more than what we do, and we kind of tone it down a little bit to find the stuff that'll fit. But he does an awesome job of coming up with that kind of stuff and makes it really easy. And it injects confidence into our guys to be able to go there and do that, and know when it's a critical situation, we can be able to hand the ball off to somebody and be able to go and put our toughness to check and not chase ghosts and waterfalls and be able to run it up in there.
Have you had like more freedom to kind of do some things you wanted to do, or would you credit it to, like you said, like with Roll and Clanton and just having more minds in that room to do some more stuff than we've seen?
Yeah, I think there's certainly I'm certainly twisted in a lot of ways and creative and like to be different and things like that, but I can't say enough good stuff about Coach Roll and Clanton and Jake Waters and our whole offensive staff and what they do. Coach Pauly, like, they do such a good job. We split up Sundays and Mondays and come together, and everybody presents their ideas and things that'll work, and it doesn't matter. Sometimes it's the players that send it in and things that'll work. I get a lot of DMs from the fans on plays that they see watching games, and if I think it makes sense, like, hey, we can doctor up and find a way that if it fits us to do it. But yeah, I think us just talking and seeing what we think's going to work, and a lot of times we throw a lot of stuff out, but we're like, let's test this one out, see how it goes, and we got the guys to do it. And when you got awesome players like Jaden and Jalen and all the guys we have on offense, when we throw it to them, if it doesn't work, Coach Campbell doesn't usually get too mad at us as long as those guys are involved in it somehow.
You talked about how every time you throw it to Ben, you feel like you got a chance for something. How much do you have to or want to manufacture opportunities for him, specific plays like the sneak? And I think back to when Charlie was here, you guys had that middle screen to him a lot. How much do you want to manufacture to get them involved? Yeah,
well, certainly, like, being like the tight end coach, I can be a little bit biased there too, and I think the tight ends are a little bit of a cheat code in offensive football. And just as Ben's gotten healthier coming out of camp, he's gotten better and better each week, and he's only going to get better. So for us, just finding ways to get him the football, and when you have people like Jaden, Jalen, and Eli and Benny, and the weapons that we have at running back, those guys allow us to be pretty multiple with what we want to do. And a lot of the times, like, something jumps off the tape at us, like at the sneak. We felt like we saw a couple clips from last season where we were going to get a one-on-one even if they bid on it. Even like the Iowa game 2 weeks before, it wasn't exactly what we thought the defense would do, but we had a one-on-one with Jaden somehow, some way. So for us, it starts with the film and then being able to, organize it on the call sheet to, like, the best ways to get those guys the ball and whatever the situation might be.
As an example of that, Moore's touchdown where you're throwing it to him and you got two tight ends out, you blocking for him?
Yeah, so for us, that's like we call them like our tempo plays, and we're able to go fast, and we could do that in any personnel. So those guys kind of have to be ready. Like anybody can be at any given spot at any given time. So it could have been Steve-O, it could have been Gabe, it could have been Ben, it could have been anybody. Tyler was just lucky that he was in the right spot at the right time and made a great play. So those guys get asked to do a lot. All those guys, the wideouts and tight ends, because we play in a lot of personnel, so those guys have to be ready to go in and execute, and Tyler did a great job there.
Who are some of your biggest offensive, play calling and philosophy influences?
Yeah, I think the people that I've worked with here, Coach Manning, and especially with him being with the Colts now, they have great tight ends. He did a good job. Nate is somebody that I talk to all the time. He's always sharing stuff with me for what he learns at the Rams. And then you always go and you check and you see like what Kyle Kemp does a really good job every week of kind of checking. He makes like an idea tape of themes and stuff that he sees in the NFL and in college and things that are working. And then obviously with Brock and the 49ers, they do such a good job game planning and tight ends, and the Dolphins do such a unique job of running the ball. And then, there's FCS teams and, just wherever we feel like fits us, there's a lot of different ways that it could go. But, yeah, I think those people have just been a big influence on me. Obviously, Coach Campbell, it's still the roots of it are his offense from back when he was the offensive coordinator at Toledo. We still call a lot of this stuff the same thing. And for us, it kind of just evolves based on our personnel and who our top players are and what formations we can get into to be successful. And now that our O-line's getting a little bit healthy, I think that's helping us too a little bit.
And I think it's Klotz, Moore, and Burkle. Those tight ends, you grouped them together a little bit last game, and those guys just really cleared the way for some running. What do you like about those three guys together?
Yeah, I think all those guys are very, very unselfish and very selfless, and they actually look forward to being able to go and put their hands on people and try to bury people, and they're physical, violent. I'd love to say that they're ugly, but they're not. They're actually, handsome, good-looking kids, but they play ugly, which I really appreciate. I actually make up for all the ugliness in the tight end room just with what I look like, as you guys can see. So those guys will do whatever it takes. They'll go in there and block the C, D, whatever gap we ask them to do, plug them inside, insert them inside. They take a lot of pride in bringing the physicality to the offense and being the guys like, I want you to run the ball behind me. So that's the kind of attitude you got to have, and every block's an important one here, and every inch and every yard matters. So they're certainly no scrubs.
The running back room put together its best performance of the season so far. What's been your evaluation of that group and how they've sort of developed?
Yeah, they're kind of similar to the tight end room, I think, a little bit. All those guys are each other's biggest fan. You don't feel like any of those guys want it more than the other in like a selfish way. I mean, like they're each other's biggest fans, and Coach Roll does such a good job of getting those guys to play hard to where it doesn't matter, because we run a lot of different schemes in the run game out of a lot of different personnels, and all of those guys have the ability to go in there and create an explosive play, and it doesn't matter if it's short yardage or goal line or open or close, 14 personnel, 11 personnel. Those guys all take a lot of pride in being able to go in there and not get tackled by one person, not get tackled by two person, and be the hammer, as Coach Roll probably has told you guys, because he's certainly cut from a different cloth. But those guys did a good job of just taking a lot of pride, and I made a big deal to them in the bye week about us being able to evolve and grow in the run game. We're going to have to be successful here, and we have the talent there to do that. So big challenge to the front seven with the O-line tight ends, and then the running backs of being able to grow in our ability to run the ball, and I think those guys have grown in a positive direction.
Rocco's talked a couple of times about wanting to improve his ability to throw to the left. I know you're not coaching him directly in practice with Coach Waters all the time, but how have you guys as a staff tried to help him improve in that area?
Yeah, I think for us it's just kind of putting the fundamental piece under a magnifying glass and, pulling all those throws to the left, the right, whatever it is. And, when you watch them all together, you can start to look for themes and details and, stuff that continues to show up there, not just throwing to his left, but, it's no different than a tight end stepping to their left or a backside cutoff or a lead. Like, when you watch them all together, you're able to find, like, the flaws or the strengths in it. So for us, being able to pull it, study it, and, find, like, the little details here and there, if it's an inch off or whatever it might be, like those things are important as anybody's fundamentals are. So we tried to, group that together and, work it in Indy to be successful. And that way, some of the negatives for not just him, but everybody at their position can be better there.
Can you kind of explain why that's a thing that right-handed quarterbacks seem to struggle with in general, is just throwing to their left? Is it like a movement thing, a mechanical thing that's just difficult for the body to move in that direction?
Yeah. I certainly don't know if I know the answer to that question. Like, I'm just a hockey, football, tight end guy, that run game and pass game. But, yeah, it's certainly been something that Jake Waters and Coach Campbell and I know Shieldhouse and even, Joel, those guys, made a big emphasis on it and working. And it's got to be a mechanical thing that I would think is a problem. And I love to dive into exactly, like, what that looks like. But I don't, honestly. I mean, some of you guys might know that more than I do for some of the QB technical piece of it. But I'm not sure, but Jake Waters is the guy to get it fixed. And he played it, he did it, and he'll get it fixed. And Rocco's incredible, and good job. And he'll continue to grow and be better and, put it on the money.
Obviously, having receivers like Higgins and Noel, obviously last season you got to kind of see how it worked and how they played well with this offense. And now, obviously, going in the conference play this season, what has it been like to kind of have those X-factor receivers for your offense this season?
Yeah, I think just from last year to this year, like the confidence that those guys have and their leadership ability to our offense, it doesn't skip a beat. Those guys can go out there and demand excellence from me, from our coaching staff and our players, and allow us to go out there and be able to practice really, really hard and hold everybody to a standard that we have to perform to every single day in meetings and practice. And those guys aren't going to get outworked by everybody. So when your best players are your hardest workers, I think it, inspires a lot of people. Like, you have to show up every day. You can't have a bad moment or, show up and not be ready to go, because you're going to get exposed here by those guys, which scares me a little bit as a coach. Like, we have to make sure that our plan's good enough, and those guys are so driven and care so much about not just, they care about the team. They care about Coach Campbell. They care about Iowa State football, and they want to win games. They're so competitive. So, like I said, when those guys are your hardest workers, it helps a lot of things fold into place.
You've obviously seen this as the tight ends coach, but now being an offensive coordinator, when you're going through film and you see Cincinnati blanks Houston 34-0, does that get you a little giddy as the offensive coordinator going into this week, or is it kind of just you have to live up to the hype and put it
No,
together?
I don't necessarily even get caught up in like the score, win losses. Like, Arkansas State played Michigan really tough, lost by 10. Houston's a really, really good football team. Cincinnati's a really good football team. Our guy Coach Veit's done there has been awesome with Cincinnati, and Houston's a really good football team too. They got a ton of talent, and they're in year one of their program, and they have a lot of talent, and they're going to get it going there. Like, Coach has done a great job there, and he's won everywhere. So they're going to be really good. I don't get caught up in the score of all that stuff just because I know how talented those guys are. You look at how close they were to winning that Oklahoma game, could have won, maybe should have won. So they're a really good football team. It's going to be really tough for us. Like, for me, I'm not smart enough to focus on anything but just like the next play and what's going to help us get ready for practice tomorrow and how our guys can be successful. So for me, I just stay focused on the next play and the next rep and try to, put a good plan together with the staff to let those guys go and, be successful.
When you guys as a staff spend time brainstorming, implementing new plays, how do the players respond to some of those more creative plays?
Yeah, they get excited. They're juiced about it. Usually we have like an example of it somewhere that allows them to see it and like why we're thinking it. We don't just come up with something for no reason. But if we have the clip that shows them like this is the look that we feel like we're gonna get, this is why we want to do it, or we took this clip from this place. Like, I know for me for tight ends, like, I like to show them someone else doing it. I like to walk through it, show them the defense that we expect to see. That way they can, visualize how to be successful in it and then piece it all together. But they're always excited, especially when we do something creative or they know somebody has a chance to score on it or a big play, or they know like this is going to be our 4th and 1 call, like with a game on the line. So you got to put your, mentality there because it's going to, the game might be on the line at the time. So try to give those guys just a platform to understand the severity of the plays, and they all have consequences regardless of what down they're on. So they're never just drawings on the whiteboard, and I think those guys carry that. But they get excited. They believe in, whatever we want to do, whoever it's for.
I think that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.